want to talk more about gay identity and how a gay identity is different from homosexuality. As Lady Gaga told us, we are born this way. What does that mean exactly? I think that people are born with a propensity toward homosexual affection and attraction. And in that sense, it's somewhat essential to the phenomenal person. But the vast majority of men who have sex with men, for instance, in the world, don't identify as gay. And it's not just that they're in denial, although that can be the case, but and sometimes it may be because in their culture a person isn't considered gay unless they bottom, or perhaps it's deadly dangerous to identify as gay in their culture, or perhaps in their culture gay sex, or homosexual sex rather, is just one of many sexual options available to humans, or to men specifically. I don't guess it speaks so much about women's sexuality, sort of a different topic about which I'm not an expert on. But so you may be born homosexual, but you're not born gay. You have to become gay, and the process to becoming gay is often fraught with difficulties. For one thing, most of us are born into heterosexual families, that is, our parents are heterosexual. And so for us to, first of all, acknowledge that we're different from them in such a fundamental way, that we're gay or homosexual versus heterosexual, and especially if there's some kind of religious prejudice against homosexuality, which is often the case in different parts of the world, and especially in America, then the acknowledgement of one's self as homosexual and the owning of a gay identity, the developing of a gay identity, is tantamount to betrayal of your family, of your friends, of your religion, of your God. And so it can be very frightening to do that. And the only reason, I think, or the main reason people do it, despite all of that danger, the feeling that they could be rejected by everybody they care about, and often are, is that gay desire is not something so mild as a preference or even an orientation. It's a force of nature that will not be denied, and so people risk their reputation and their relationships and their lives even to live more authentically as who they experience themselves to be. So their gay identity, when is something that's earned and not just something you're born with. So when Ellen DeGeneres, for instance, proclaimed on the cover of a news magazine a few years ago, "Yep, I'm gay," it expressed a whole process, a painful, difficult, and heroic process of coming out to herself, to her fans, to her family, and ultimately to the world. Now, I think the net result of that process is very positive, and I think in the vast majority of cases, gay people who embrace their gay identity live as openly as they can in whatever society they live, and at the very least acknowledge themselves as gay, live, in general, happier lives than those who live in the closet, which is why people do phenom. But there's something more to that, though. This precious gay identity that is won through so much hardship and effort. In the spiritual sense, in spirituality, in deeper spirituality, is actually a positive asset. Unlike what many of the especially Abrahamic religions have taught, that gayness is somehow the opposite of spirituality, that nonsense. Rather, embracing one's gay identity, that is, owning it, living it, understanding it in its all of its aspects. And as we talked about before, two aspects are: one, the experience of same-sex attraction and love, and two, the experience that gender identity and gender roles are fluid. It's in this latter sense that a gay identity is more spiritual than a gender polarized identity. Why is that? Because the divine being, God, goddess, if you will, is masculine, feminine, and neither, and both, and what transcends them all. So when we embrace the totality of our being, the totality of our experience, we are moving closer to identification, for discovering the deeper identity, which is divine.